How is everyone doing today? And in this video, it's not a lot that we're going to be talking about today, specifically looking at what we got shown off last night, which was Mydei's animations. And realistically, looking at an attacker or in a DPS's animations isn't really going to tell us much realistically. So let's go ahead and watch this really quickly, and then we'll talk about my thoughts about Mydei, even though I have talked about him previously when he did get drip marketed, but I do want to talk about him a little bit more just because I do think looking at a normal DPS, especially one that's destruction, we don't know if he has a memo sprite, most likely not, because that might be tied to remembrance. Realistically, looking at a regular main DPS, not knowing of course what's in this kit, it is going to be hard for a regular DPS, a Hypercarry DPS, to be able to pull their weight versus a lot of the archetype teams that have just super niche support and super specific support for them to have versus the Hypercarry characters, which we don't have a lot of upgrades since we last had our last Hypercarry, which was, if I'm not wrong, say Young Lee. I don't even know who the last Hypercarry was, but this is Mydei. He looks really good. I'm not gonna lie, his animations look really nice. Now he does look like he has some type of AOE to his ult, or his skill, whatever that is, and then that's another attack right there. Like I said, not really a lot to make note of in this video, specifically when it comes to just his animations, but I do just want to talk about how hard it is right now for a new DPS, especially one that isn't as a part of a certain archetype, to be able to compete with what we got currently in the game. Of course, we do have, where the heck is the data bank? Of course, we do have a multitude of different characters in this game at the current moment, and a lot of the best teams right now consist of teams with just full-on support for a specific type of damage. We're talking about with Fei Xiao, you have the follow-up team. You have Fei Xiao taking the energy, I guess you could say, from everybody else doing attacks, and that allows Aventurine, that allows Topaz, that allows Robin. The perfect team for Fei Xiao. You have that, and then you're just doing absolutely disgusting damage team-wide, not just Fei Xiao. And then when it's Fei Xiao's turn to come out, she's throwing out an absolute nuke. The same thing goes for someone like Acheron. You have someone who's using all these characters that can do debuffs, and then she's absolutely nuking the field after, of course, she gets her full points of slash stream. And the same thing goes for many other characters. We got Firefly, Rappa, and Boo Hill for break, where they have their break characters like Fugue, like Ruan Mei, like having Linksha. And then we're also looking at another team, which is of course looking towards, what was I thinking of? Oh, Sunday and the summon meta, which is going to be Sunday, of course, Aglia. I guess you could say Jing Yuwen does count as a part of this, and whoever else is going to be part of it, such as Casters, as we know, as we made a video relatively early talking about her animations, how she's going to be a DPS, how she's going to be the next damage dealer for the Memo sprites. Honestly, think if you really want to summon character and you want to just save fools, Aglia might need to skip. But if you really like Aglia, have fun. I will be watching from afar because I'm sadly not going to be pulling for her, only because I just feel like Aglia will be our introductory character to Memo sprites, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form is she going to be the end-all be-all. She is going to be the best Memo sprite character or remembrance character in the game. I do expect Casterus, where it aligns a little bit closer to the anniversary, to be a big hitter, the same way Acheron was when we were getting close to our first anniversary for Star Rail. So there is a lot of things to keep note of, but specifically for Mydei, looking at what he's going to do, again, we just don't have a lot of characters at the current moment for Hypercarry that have had super big upgrades over the other teams, I guess you could say. Right now, Robin is follow-up. Of course, Robin can be general as well. Sunday is going to be part of the summon meta with Aglia, but he can also work as a Hypercarry character. Sparkle hasn't seen a lot of play ever since Robin came out. Ruan Mei, of course, is associated with Break. Our HMC is of course situated with HMC is situated with Break, and then Bronya Hypercarry as well. There hasn't been a crazy amount of support or specific factors in a team for Hypercarry to come back. Most of the time it is just teams that are already built upon an archetype. When it comes to follow-up, when it comes to Break, when it comes to Acheron, when it comes to all these other characters, we just don't seem to have a spot for them at the current moment. And now we're about to go into the Herta, which I think Herta also feels a niche team coming very soon, which is just gonna be a full team of characters that can just hit AOE. I really don't understand how to say it. Maybe the AOE team, I have no idea, or the Erudition team, which is just Herta with whoever else can hit a multiple amount of enemies, especially after seeing what Tribi can do. Tribi being able to attack, pretty cool to see. This allows someone like Herta to be able to have a character like Jade or a mini Herta alongside Tribi, and then Aventurine or Linksha or Gallagher, allowing you to just make a full AoE team, which is going to be really great in certain modes like MOC, Pure Fiction, and same thing with Apocalyptic Shadow. I don't really see a lot of situations where they are going to be in a single target scenario because we just haven't seen it in MOC for quite some time. And I know there was a concern looking at the Herta and saying, well, of course, there's going to be multi-target scenarios at the current moment. Who says later down the line they bring a single target DPS, and with that single target DPS, they only make a single target boss? Now, if that were the case, I would understand how that could be a little concerning for someone like the Herta, but realistically, they would never make 2 single target DPSs on both sides. I know it sounds like something they can do, but it hasn't been the case ever since the game has come out. We really haven't had a boss that doesn't summon characters or doesn't have enemies that go alongside with them. That way they're able to either buff the boss up, they have some type of mechanic towards it. There's usually some way or some form that there's more enemies than just one coming onto the field alongside the boss. So the likelihood of the Herta struggling in content when there might be a possibility of single target scenarios isn't really high, specifically looking at what we've been looking at MOC for all these times. And of course, you still have your permanent spot in Pure Fiction, and the same thing goes for your permanent spot in looking at Apocalyptic Shadow as well. Apocalyptic Shadow has always famously been a multi-target scenario or end game mode for the most part, and then you get your quarterly life for Herta too. So Mydei does have some competition. I guess I just wanted to make this video specifically talking about how hard specifically it is for Mydei to go ahead and be able to compete with a lot of these characters, because realistically there just isn't an environment for him that puts him already above a lot of the characters that we're looking at right now, especially looking at other games that Hoyoverse has made. They're bringing out characters that are allowing other archetypes to be able to pass the existing most powerful one, similar to what Zenless Zone Zero is doing. They had the anomaly meta characters that were anomaly, or I guess you say elemental reactions if you don't play Zenless. They were the number one. They are the number one at the current moment, have too much DPS, but now they're bringing out a new support, Astra Yao, that's going to allow regular attackers, characters that don't use elemental reactions like that, to be able to compete with the previous elemental reaction meta. So we don't have something like that right now currently for Mydei. There would either have to be a specified support in the future, or he has to just work on something that some team already has. And if that's the case, we're just talking about replacing a teammate that might be in any one of these teams, whether it be break, whether it be what's it called, follow-up attack, or is just summon based. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about when it comes to Mydei's kit. Of course, we don't get a lot from his actual animations themselves, which does suck for the most part. He does look really cool, I'll give him that. He has a really nice design too, so I can't wait to see what he does. I can't wait to see who he's going to work with. But for right now, he has a lot of competition. We're gonna have to wait and see how it's going to work out in regards to Mydei and where he's going to be as a DPS. But other than that, that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know if you're excited for Mydei, if you're excited for Tribi, if you're excited for Aglia, Herta, any of these characters that are gonna be coming out very soon. Because man, Hoyoverse is leaking themselves. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all in the next one, and peace.